What's going on, guys? J Productions here, bringing you 5 reasons why the 2020 Heat are like the 2004 Pistons. This is my first analysis video, so I hope you guys like it. I do want to do more analysis videos in the future, so I hope you guys enjoy, and without further ado, let's get started. The first reason the 2020 Heat are like the 2004 Pistons is toughness. I'm talking about a scrappy team that's going to give every ounce of energy they have. They consistently play every game like it's their last, and you're never going to see a team that's unengaged or that's not going to get the most out of their talent. When you look at the Pistons, they did the same thing. They were completely outmatched at times, but they won because they simply tried harder. They work harder than anyone. If you look at the Clippers, they had all the talent in the world on paper, but they didn't get it done. We thought they were a bunch of tough guys. We thought they had the killer instinct, but it didn't work out. So I think this 2020 Heat team has it. I think they have that killer instinct, and this is the first reason why I think they're like the 2004 Pistons. The second reason why the Heat are like the 2004 Pistons is they don't have a top 10 player. You could argue that maybe Jimmy Butler is top 10, but I don't think so personally. I think most people would say he's closer to top 15, maybe top 20. I know he actually is better than his stats are, to give him some credit. And, you know, he's great on defense. He does whatever he needs to do, you know, to win. He is clutch, but I don't think he's quite top 10. And I don't think that the Pistons team had a top 10 player either. If you look at the past 20 years, nearly every single team had at least a top 10 player, at minimum, on their championship run. Other than the 2014 Spurs, I think that's maybe the only exception. Duncan was arguably their best player. You know, Kawhi won Finals MVP. Parker was still really good. So, you know, I don't know if any of them were quite top 10, though. And the 2008 Celtics, I would say maybe Pierce or Garnett were just maybe top 10, maybe top 15. So that's the two exceptions. I'm not entirely sure. That they could be argued either way. But what I'm trying to say is, other than those two teams, in the last 20 years, every single other team that won a championship has had at least a top 10 player. You can go through them, it's true. So that's a big reason why I think this Heat team is like the 2004 Pistons. The third reason that the 2020 Heat are like the 2004 Pistons is they're underdogs. If you look at the 2004 Pistons, nobody expected them to beat the Lakers. And it's kind of funny because now the Heat are actually going up against the Lakers, who are more stacked than them by far too. Especially top-heavy wise, because, you know, Kobe and Shaq, that's 2 top 5 players in that time. And then LeBron and Anthony Davis, clearly 2 top 5 players as well. And the Pistons got it done, man. They beat their ass pretty bad, actually. It really wasn't even that close. And it just shows that if you have a mentally tough team and deep talent, you know, the possibilities are limitless. So when we look back at the Heat, they weren't expected to beat the Bucks. You know, even the Celtics, a lot of people picked the Celtics over them as well. And the Heat showed that they are capable of anything, man, and we should not underestimate them, even though they are underdogs. And that's the big point I'm trying to make. Just like the Pistons, they're underdogs, and they're going up against the Lakers as well. So that's the third point, that they are like the 2004 Pistons. The fourth reason the 2020 Heat are like the 2004 Pistons is they're deep and unselfish. If you look at the Pistons, instead of having 2 incredible superstars, they had 5 very good players. Now offensively, it could be Billups, it could be Hamilton, Prince, or Rasheed. On any given night, they could lead the team in scoring. Now what Ben Wallace would do for them is lock down the paint. He could play some perimeter D2. He was really versatile because he was actually a lot shorter than he was listed. He was listed at 6'9", but I'm pretty sure he was actually 6'7". You can look that up, but he played way bigger than that. And the dude was just crazy strong. He was an amazing, versatile defender. So, I mean, that's just a crazy deep team if you look at it. You got 4 different great scoring options and an amazing, versatile defender. Now for the Heat, they got Dragic, they got Hero, they got Butler, and now Bam. Bam has become so good lately. Like, he's like amped up his game even farther. I mean, he was already an all-star, but man, did you see what he did with that 32 points in the closeout game? man, he was crazy. He can score in so many ways. He kind of reminds me of Anthony Davis in a way. I'm not saying he's as good, but he reminds me of him because he's crazy versatile on defense as well, which is kind of similar to Ben Wallace in a way. But Bam has the scoring though, which is also similar to Davis. Anyway, Hero is capable of going off at any given moment. We saw what he did. He dropped 37 points. Like, this dude is also a star in the making. So, and other than those two, you know Dragic can get you points. Butler can score at any given time when you need him to. You know, he could drop 25 and then drop 15 the next game. Or he could go for 10 points and then drop, 12 points in the fourth quarter out of nowhere. So I think both these teams are really deep and unselfish, and that's the fourth reason why they're similar. Okay, the last reason why the 2020 Heat are like the 2004 Pistons is defense. Now, I'm not saying they're as good as the Pistons on defense, because that would be crazy. But to give them a little respect, they're pretty damn good on defense. They are one of the best defensive teams in the league this year, no doubt. Now, when we look at the Pistons, every single player on that lineup could play D. Positions 1 through 4, they had it covered. I talked about Ben a little bit. So versatile. He could defend all 5 positions. He did win Defensive Player of the Year 4 times. He did lead the league in blocks once. He was 6 times all defensive. So, yeah, Ben was obviously, the core of that defense. But Rasheed was pretty damn good too. Prince, I would say, was second best on defense. His block on Reggie Miller was one of the craziest I've ever seen, that chase down block. And then Billups and Hamilton were very good defensive perimeter defenders as well, is what I'm trying to say. And then when we look at the Heat, although they do have a few players that aren't like lockdown defenders, such as Hero and Dragic, they're still pretty good. Butler's really good on defense. They still have Iguodala, really great defender, one of the best LeBron defenders I've ever seen. So I'm excited to see how he does there. And Adebayo, man, he is crazy good on defense. Now, I'm not saying he's Ben yet. He's not quite there. He's got a ways to go, to be honest, to be that good. But he is really good on defense. He's so versatile. His block on Jason Tatum was one of the greatest blocks I've ever seen. So that's the last reason why I think they're similar. Both great defensive teams. If you guys like the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. There's also going to be a lot of content of other stuff. So if you like basketball in general, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and thank you guys for watching.